lovely good morning and welcome to the Camnet Breakfast Show. I'm Patrick Soko and today we are discussing governance, policy and politics. And to just get started with our show this morning, we'll go straight into the morning boost so that we can get flexing our muscles.
Hello. It's your boy Harrison, aka the Fitness Papi, here at Chon's Fitness in conjunction with the Camnet TV. Remember, you can get your fitness attire here and here. So guys, today I'm taking you in aerobics. We can go now, a 2-minute aerobics, okay? Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1, then you start. Keep going. So after this, you do the one-hand jumping jacks. Get ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go. This side. Okay. Keep going. Get ready. 3, 2, 1, we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You switch this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're done. Woo! So guys, today we are going to do a deadlift. Yeah, and also I'm going to mention the parts the deadlift works on. So I'm going to do a 2 times. Okay. So I have my 30 kg here. So slowly you move close to your barbell. Okay. So you bend all the way like this. We go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I've done 8, and I would like to tell you the parts the deadlift works on. Actually, the deadlift is a full body workout. It works on your core, the arms, the lower back, hamstring. Okay, so this is what you do when you want to perform a good deadlifting exercise. So you hold the dumbbell Move close to your barbell here like this. Then all the way. Try as if you are pushing the ground away. Then when you reach here, you push your glutes forward as well as chest out. So this motion helps you with the core. Then drop it down. So mind you, let's take for instance you are using an overloaded barbell. So the advice I can give you, it's when you take it up like this. So instead of you going down all the way like this, so when it reaches here, then you go for another lap. You go for another lap. For this kind of action really helps you for your lower back here. Okay, let me do the last one. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, one more, and 10. Okay, that's it for today. You've been with me, Harrison, aka the Fitness Papi, here at Chon's Fitness in Kablonga. Remember, you can also get your fitness attire here. Bye bye.
Well, there you have it. That was the Fitness Papi himself doing what he knows best. That's helping us doing those drills right and correctly. It is important that you exercise using the right formula, because if you do it wrongly, there are consequences. It is important that we always take priority in terms of ensuring that we exercise early in the morning to start our day on a fresh note. As you already know, non-communicable diseases are affecting countries world over. Zambia is not excluded. It is important that we keep our health by ensuring that we observe what they call a good health lifestyle. Now we are going straight into our next segment, which is the Health Corner with Dr. Mufaya. Let's just hear what she has prepared for us this morning.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. My name is Dr. Nakubiana Mufaya. So this week we are talking about typhoid fever, and yesterday we talked about some of the risk factors of getting infected with typhoid, and we say that usually transmission is through the fecal-oral route. So people who stay in overcrowded places are at risk of getting this infection. So more especially those that stay with somebody who has the infection, the typhoid fever, or those that live near a sewerage and they drink water that is from the borehole or from the well. So these are some of the risk factors. The other risk factors are that people who have HIV or other infections like malaria or schistosomiasis can also get this bacteria because their immune system is very low, and so they are not able to fight off other infections. So today we'll talk about some of the signs and symptoms of typhoid fever. So how can you know, or how can you tell that you have typhoid fever? So as the name entails, usually they would have fever, and most of the times the fever progresses each day. So you might find that you have fever today, tomorrow the fever will be even more. So it's like the fever keeps on increasing each day that comes. So that is one of the classic symptoms of somebody who has typhoid fever. So they would have fever that keeps increasing every day. If you check the temperatures, you find that the numbers are increasing on each day. The other symptom is that they would have constipation. So it usually affects the intestines, so they would end up having constipation. So if they don't have constipation, they would have diarrhea. So it's either you have constipation or you have diarrhea. Sometimes the constipation might start first and then later you have diarrhea. So the diarrhea comes usually in the second or third week, and it's usually greenish, yellowish in color, and sometimes you might even find some streaks of blood because it might cause hemorrhage in the intestines. So it's important that you look at the type of diarrhea that you're having to be able to tell the doctors when they ask you at the hospital what kind of diarrhea you have, because it's important for them to be able to treat you and to diagnose you. The other symptom is that they might have weakness, they might feel weak, they might feel fatigued, they might also have other symptoms of coughing and just body pains, joint pains. So all these are some of the other symptoms that a person who has typhoid fever might present with. So I do hope you have learned something today. We're talking about the signs and symptoms of typhoid fever. So we say that they would have fever, which usually increases in temperature as days go by. So each day the fever will be increasing. Then also they might have constipation or diarrhea. Sometimes they might have constipation first and then later on they would have diarrhea. They might also have weakness, fatigue, body pains, and joint pains. So if you are experiencing any of these symptoms, do not hesitate to go to the hospital as soon as possible. And if you know anybody who has some symptoms or these symptoms, make sure you take them as quickly as possible as well. So make sure you watch tomorrow's, where we'll be talking about how it's diagnosed and treated in the hospital. What are the treatment options for typhoid fever? Is it treatable? Are you able to get cured from this disease? So we want to know exactly how it's treated. So make sure you watch tomorrow again. Invite your friends and invite your family members as well to watch. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me on Facebook at Dr. Nakubyanamfire, or you can even watch the other episodes on my YouTube channel at Dr. Nakubyanamfire. I'll see you again next time. Stay blessed and stay healthy.
Well, there you have it. Quite an interesting topic there from Dr. Mufaya. She never disappoints when it comes to her informing us on health matters, and we were discussing looking at the issue of signs and symptoms of typhoid fever. I hope you managed to learn one or two things. It is important that you get familiar with this, and if you are affected, you have to seek help at the nearest health institution. That's your Health Corner. It is also up for grabs in terms of sponsorship and partnerships. We can partner with you if you are an entity that is keen to support good health, and we are ready to just partner with you, or equally you can advertise on the same segment to just sell your products. Remember, the Camnet TV Breakfast Show is the highly watched program, so doing business with us is actually at your advantage. So now let's also look at how the kwacha is performing against other major convertibles. Yeah, so look, the euro is buying at 18 kwacha 66 ngwe and selling at 19 kwacha 02 ngwe. The Greater British Pound is buying at 21 kwacha 16 ngwe and selling at 21 kwacha 580 ngwe. $1 is buying at 17 kwacha 04 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 37 ngwe. The South African Rand is buying at 93 ngwe and selling at 95 ngwe. So those are your money markets. My particular interest is on the US dollar and the kwacha. You can see that it is performing better compared to the recent past weeks when the kwacha was actually nose diving, in that it was poorly performing, and that had a lot of the consequences to our economy, which is highly affected by the issue of debt restructuring, which is still pending up to now. Now, looking at the kwacha, there are some of the factors that are leading to that performance of our currency at the moment. And we did speak to an economist who is Mr. Trevor Ambai to help us just analyze why he feels the kwacha is performing better again. Because last time we checked, it was heading to 22 kwacha against $1, but now it is back to 17 kwacha, and people are just optimistic it would go up to 50 kwacha like it was some recent weeks ago. So now let's get to listen to what Mr. Trevor Hambai has to say, and the story reads, economist Trevor Hambai has attributed the continuous appreciation of the kwacha against other major convertibles to the number of factors, among them the fact that a lot of corporate bodies are obliged to meet their tax obligations during the first quarter of the year. Mr. Ambai says that most of the tax bodies, especially those in the mining sector, are now being forced to liquidate their hard currency into kwacha in order to meet the local tax obligations. He says that this has reduced the demand on the dollar and increased the supply of the dollar on the market, thereby creating a positive impact on the kwacha. And by close of business as of Thursday, 18th April 2023, the Zambian kwacha against the United States dollar was buying at 16 kwacha 13 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 46 ngwe. However, we did give you the money market previously that indicates the prices or the performance of the kwacha as of this morning. Let's get to listen to that story. We'll be back on the other side.
The Zambian kwacha had in the past 5 months come under attack, which had seen the Central Bank of Zambia move in to curtail the further depreciation of the local currency by increasing the statutory reserve ratio by 2.5 percentage point and the monetary policy rate by 0.50 basis point. Despite these interventions, the local currency continued to depreciate and went to over 21 kwacha to $1 United States dollar. The past 2 weeks have however seen the local currency appreciate, and many Zambian citizens have been left wondering what might be contributing to the appreciation of the local currency against other major convertibles. Economist Trevor Hambai has since explained what might be contributing to these factors.
The country's financial year, in that a lot of corporate bodies are having to be able to meet their tax obligation. And many of these tax bodies who are in the mining sector have to liquidate hard currency to be able to have the kwacha to meet their local or domestic tax obligation. This has reduced the demand on the dollar and also increased the supply of the dollar on the market, creating a positive impact and creating an appreciation in the kwacha.
Other factors have been attributed to the fact that Zambia's creditors are now moving towards concluding the debt restructuring process, which has sent some confidence to would-be investors.
The second one is always the positive sentiments from the international front, where the country is moving positively towards having to restructure its debt, with the creditors all agreeing to the point that they want to get past the issues that have been hindering the completion of this agreement. The underlying aspect, which is slightly of a smaller direct impact to the country, is obviously the financial markets are starting to move in a very different direction around de-dollarization, where they want to stop using the dollar.
For now, the Zambian citizen remain hopeful that the local currency will stabilize, adding that many businesses have continued to be affected by the depreciation of the local currency. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Well, there you have it. Quite an interesting story there, and where Trevor Ambai is indicating some of the attributes of the appreciation of the kwacha, and he did attribute it to the fact that most tax bodies, especially those in the mining sector, are being forced to liquidate their hard currency into the kwacha in order to meet their tax obligations. So those are the attributes of the kwacha. We'll take a short break. We'll be back on the other side. Keep it on Camnet.
Hey, join me, Amazing Katamanda, on the weekly gospel show for those exciting and interesting interviews with your favorite gospel music.
Hold on to me when it's too dark to see. You cannot put your power back to
Hallelujah.
And this time around, we are bringing to you entertainment news and the counter, as you guys are able to nominate your top 3 favorite music videos of the week. Remember, it's every Saturday at 10:45. You can also catch repeats every Monday at 10 hours. Camnet TV is not just another time.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Welcome back. You are watching the Camnet Breakfast Show with me, Patrick Soko, and my co-host of today, Prudence Chota. And we are discussing, the topic here of discussion rather is prescribing solutions to the issue of meal meal. And later on the day, we'll be joined by our guest who's going to help us discuss this issue. But you too, our dear viewers, in case you want to give us your views on this subject, you can do so by calling the number that is on your screen, as well as leaving us that message on our socials. Prudence, good morning.
Good morning, Patrick Soko. It is actually an honor to share this stage with you this morning. And of course, we know we are counting down to 2023. This is April, and we're looking forward to May. And May, actually 20th, Camnet TV will be celebrating its 3rd year in broadcasting of our news, in the broadcast of our news. I'm sure that's the time we started, Patrick. So looking at the last 3 years, it's been quite an interesting journey, and we continue to share this stage where we give you, our viewer, a platform and an opportunity for you to make those contributions and submissions. Remember, the solutions to some of the challenges that we face actually in Zambia, Patrick, lies to someone watching this program, and they can be a solution by just calling and speaking to the stakeholders. This breakfast show, we know stakeholders are actually listening. We actually get responses sometimes after the program when we go out there. Someone calls and says, hey, that particular caller on the program says this, so I want to respond to that. So policymakers are actually
they
listening.
do listen.
And when you call and make those submissions and contributions, you might not know, maybe that is a solution that we need for the challenges that we are facing.
Yeah, you mentioned an interesting aspect of Camnet TV celebrating 3 years of broadcasting news. As a baby station that has become competitive and well, competing alongside the big guys in the industry. Just what are some of the activities that have been lined up to mark this momentous occasion?
No, we don't want to empty everything. It's a surprise to our viewer. I'm sure if you keep watching Camnet TV, you're going to see a number of programs that will actually be putting up to commemorate our 3 years of broadcast of news. Actually, we started way back, and it's been quite an interesting journey to look back and just do a reflection of everything that we've done in the last 3 years. I know others may be saying 3 years, but Camnet TV Munivakari, because of the things that we've done, Patrick.
Yeah, within the 3 years of broadcasting news, and we're privileged to have handled the election as well, the 2021 general election. That was the first general election being covered by this small station.
And in 2026, they should watch out. So I know we did what we could then, but in 2026, it will be something else. This is a station where everyone will just be glued to listen to what is Camnet TV saying about this particular election. What are they
looking forward to that. I hope measures have been put in place just to conform to Madam Prudence's statement, and I can guarantee you of that. She's done her homework for telling me that. In fact, thanks for reminding me that we'll be actually clocking 3 years. It's quite an interesting journey, like you said. Now, our topic of discussion is prescribing solutions to the issue of mini meal. We have been doing quite a number of stories pertaining to the issue of mini meal. Now, we are getting what the viewers think should be the solution to this problem. Now,
CCZ yesterday also actually said something about this particular topic.
Exactly.
I think this was in our news yesterday.
Yes.
Where the Council of Churches in Zambia was saying it is actually disappointed at the high prices and subsequent shortage of mini meal in the country. CCZ General Secretary Father Emmanuel Chikoya says the shortage has a negative impact on the majority who depend on the staple food for survival. Father Chikoya explained that Zambia is an advantaged country whose natural resources should translate into abundance of this staple food. He says government's move to start importing maize should be condemned, adding that the inconsistencies in policies are affecting the country negatively. So that was CCZ yesterday.
It's an interesting story that was also aided by the Zambia Congress of Trade Union, who has also urged the government to treat the current mini meal situation as a matter of national agency. So let's also look at these two stories where these leaders, critical leaders, because CCZ represent a large constituency of the church, and the Zambia Congress of Trade Union also represents the workers. Let's get to listen to these stakeholders, what they had to say about the issue of mini meal.
To get a bag of maize or mini meal on the Copper Belt, particularly to Impala, where residents went as far as stoning the police, is even more worrisome. It's a wake-up call. You know, hungry people are angry people, and our leaders will do well to interpret and make necessary and much-needed interventions. To this effect, CCZ wishes to condemn the move by government to start importing maize that we had in abundance just a few months back, because we had recorded a bumper harvest and we opened up and we're exporting. So one wonders what has gone wrong. it's the same government, same leaders. Today we are told there's a challenge to, yesterday we were being told we have adequate and we can be exporting. And so as CCZ, we believe that such inconsistencies in policy, statements, positions have the capacity to make people lose trust in those tasked to lead us and those that are assigned to handle the agricultural matters in our country. Government should therefore endeavor to remain consistent about this matter that affects the lives of many Zambians. On one hand, we have smugglers being arrested because they are trying to smuggle food into Congo.
To do with the staple food, they should not play with it. So we just ask them to quickly sit down and let them treat this issue of meal as an urgent issue. Our members are affected. The prices are just like the way fuel is. This month, fuel price will be like this. The other month, it will reduce or go up. This meal is cardinal. The issue is very sensitive. What we want is our members, now we are speaking for our members, to have easy access to this staple food called maize and the byproduct of maize, which is meal. We know government is not sleeping, but what we want to urge them, let them work around the clock. Otherwise, if we have to speak generally, the cost of living is high. Even what was negotiated for in terms of salary increment, it has been eroded away. Because generally, the essential commodities, the prices have gone up. When you talk of Karembola, which you buy, if you go to Soweto and check the tin of beans, popularly known as Meda, the tin of Carpenter, popularly known as Meda of Carpenter, things have gone beyond.
Welcome back. There you have it. Those are the two stories we were looking at pertaining to the issue of meal, which is topical in the country. And like Madam Prudence did say, read that story. It's quite an interesting story pertaining to meal, where the church is suggesting that, hungry people are not good people to govern.
Yeah, it's saying there is actually inconsistency in policies, and this is like negatively affecting the country, which quite is an interesting submission. When policies in the country begin to be inconsistent, I think we did see this in the mining sector previously, where the mining sector would cry to say, we've been seeing so much inconsistency in the mining sector, and that has really been affecting the production in our mines. And also now CCZ is saying there is inconsistency in policies when it comes to issues of how we handle our staple food. And this now is negatively affecting the country and the majority of poor people who depend on this staple food for them to survive. I think this is one area which we really need to look at as a government, because we know we are coming from a previous administration where today they would lift the export of maize, tomorrow they would ban it, they lift, they ban, they suspend, they do that. And the UPND comes in, and the very thing they do is open up the market and say, we are not going to put a limit. But the question is, how far should we go when we do
exactly this? Now, the question that has also been asked is that how can you allow export pure, good quality maize and settle for GMOs? Because now we saw the Minister of Agriculture saying we'll allow imports. From South Africa now.
Yeah, he was actually saying the imports that will be allowed in the country are so that when they are imported, the ones who are exporting should export that meal to the Democratic Republic of Congo.
But who are they, the people exporting? Are they going to come forth?
And then now, what is interesting, Patrick, about this whole particular issue is you allow the import, and then that should be exported. Why can't South Africa just export directly to these countries? And like you in Zambia, you import that.
It does not work like that. So for me, I think the the GMOs will leave their DNA in Zambia. At the end of the day, not everything will be destined for export.
No.
It will leave now. What that will do is that it will distort the market for the local millers as well as the local farmers. And because these GMOs, that's an industrial agriculture, you understand. So it is being produced in large quantities in these countries of origin. Now you discover that now when they come, they will flood the market, and the price will be now distorted. There will be quite to be selling at a good price, but at the expense of the health of the people. You know, these GMOs sometimes they have their own consequences. That is on record.
But Patrick Soko, also we did hear the National Biosafety Authority say actually they've done an assessment of this mealie meal and they've said no, it is safe for consumers.
You mentioned a good aspect of them doing an assessment, but others have argued that the law was not followed to the letter, because for prior to importation of GMOs, there is a need for stakeholders to actually make sure that they are consulted to say, this is the process we're about to undertake. This is what should be done.
Let's accommodate a caller. Hello, good morning. Hello? Good morning, sir. Your volume is quite low. You are through to Camnet TV. Please, you can speak us, tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Then you can go ahead with your contribution. Mumbwa.
Yeah.
It's good to know Mumbwa is tuned in this morning, sir.
Yeah.
Please go ahead with your contribution.
I think the churches, the comments from the churches and other political leaders, they are missing one point. The government has no power. The people who are supposed to do the farming are the citizens of this country. Now these people are asking the government to provide food, which the government has not produced. So we have farmers in Zambia was about 1.3 million farmers, not domestic farmers, but these other farmers, business farmers, who are struggling to give meat for the whole country. And when that meat is produced for 18 million people, the same 18 people want to use this meat to export or smuggle it out, so that they will get people who live in the country, which is being produced by that group of people. So I would be very good to do that. If it goes faster, up to them, how many times do they make themselves? For which government is to be made where? Because it's only if the can come in the village where to be made. And the bank not there. And they don't know how much these chemicals cost. The labor cost. All the money is cheap. From who? So which farmer do you have the job? Who is producing cheap maize? You buy maize at 1,000 quarter, you want to cheap that maize so that you who is playing food in town. You are doing nothing in that. You just put on your bread, put the next time. No, the maize is expensive. No, we have no maize. You have no farm. You don't know how to do the farming. Now you are just telling people to write to the government because you have nothing. The farmer is not complaining. But you people who are in town are complaining. You don't have maize anywhere. But you are complaining. Why are you complaining? It is you who doesn't live in the village. So I can suffer for you in town. It's not fair. They will need buying. They must ask their members to go and do 5 kgs enough for one person to produce 20 bucks for 2 years. You don't buy me. Then your food is 3 times per day. But what if you give you 3 times per day? Me who is suffering in the village, I give you 3 times per day. That's not fair.
Okay. Interesting. I think we have gotten his perspective there. That's our caller from Mumbwa, where was actually castigating those who are not into farming for speaking about it. But I think the other argument people have, Prudence, is that the small-scale farmers are supported by the Zambian government. And that's taxpayers' money as well, because their farming activities are highly subsidized by the government. at no cost. I should, and that's a government program. I should say it is a government program. So it is a national program at the end of the day. But a good point he did made is that there's an aspect of no state farms. We don't have state farms at the moment. Like the Minister of Agriculture doesn't run any these farms. You understand, so that they can contribute to this food basket. We depend entirely from smallholder farmers who continue to complain over the raw cash they get from the sale of their commodity as well.
It's just given me a glimpse of what the New Generation Party President Humphrey Sulapa said on Sunday. He was actually saying the same. I think what our caller there was saying, he's saying, it is not the responsibility of government to feed the country. It is the responsibility of you yourselves, the people, to feed yourselves. The duty of government is when farmers grow their maize, government will go on the market and buy for reserve.
But does government feed people?
That's why they
are buying meal. That's the argument. They buy.
Let me finish the point. The point for Mr. Sulapa was government's duty is not to provide maize or mealie meal to the people. It's to buy reserves. So when farmers grow maize, the government will go out there and buy for reserves. You know why we buy for reserves? They are for emergencies. So when you have a crisis in the country, government is supposed to get what they reserve.
That's the that's the way the responsibility of FRI. That's what he was explaining.
When you have no mealie meal in the country, people start crying and saying government is not doing. It's in a time of crisis where maybe you've been hit with a disaster, drought and stuff like that.
Interesting, Prudence, but that argument does not hold water because the government has a responsibility to ensure that the staple food is not distorted. Like in the case, no wonder they are intervening.
That's why
if you do not intervene, you create a wrong impression.
Every one of us, regardless of who you are, can you go to the ground and grow your own food? He said, give an example, if every one of us grew 5 bags of maize, 5 bags of maize is only about 2,000 kwacha for you to grow 5 bags of maize, including 1 bag of fertilizer, which is 1,000. Even use
for the sake of time, let's get to zoom in that story on GMOs, and that is coming from the Zambia Alliance for Agroecology and Biodiversity, who have urged the President Hakainde Hichilema to compel the National Biosafety Authority to rescind its decision to allow the importation of mealie meal made from genetically modified maize from South Africa. Let's zoom in this story. We'll be back on the other side with more analysis from Madam Prudence Chota and our guest who's going to join us just now. Keep it on Camnet.
The mealie meal shortage in Zambia, which has been largely blamed on smugglers, following assurances from the Ministry of Agriculture that the country is food secure, have necessitated the need to import maize into Zambia to cushion the deficit. While the initial decision to import was said to be for exporting purposes, sudden changes that some of this mealie meal will be for the local market have concerned stakeholders in the agriculture sector who have been questioning why the Ministry of Agriculture is producing conflicting statements. What has greatly concerned stakeholders is the importation of genetically modified mealie meal into Zambia from South Africa, despite concerns surrounding GMO foods. The Zambia Alliance for Agroecology and Biodiversity (ZAB) states that what is most worrying is that the National Biosafety Authority, which is mandated to guard against the importation of GMO foods, issued a statement on Monday indicating that the mealie meal was safe. Addressing the media Tuesday afternoon, ZAB National Coordinator Mutinta Kentani states that no document suggests that Zambia has undertaken a separate evaluation on its own, apart from what is indicated by the suppliers.
We also believe that the risk assessments are not scientifically credible. The 6 risk assessment documents that are available cannot be described as vigorous by any means. They appear to be summaries of the safety data that is prepared by the producers of GMOs for their permit applications. 3 pages long on average. These risk assessments do not include any experimental design, any data coming out of trials, or any peer-reviewed scientific data. There is no evidence, there is no narrative showing how authorities evaluated the safety information they received. Most critical is that maize is not a staple food in the countries where this data was generated.
The organization has therefore urged President Hakainde Hichilema to compel the National Bird Safety Authority to rescind the decision to allow for the importation of GMO mealie meal, as it is known to have negative side effects such as cancerous tumors, as well as kidney and liver malfunction.
If all GMO maize and soybeans from South Africa are safe for human consumption, why was the consignment discovered yesterday labeled safe for people 4 years and above and not just safe for human and animal consumption? The fifth question is that in whose interest is this being done? Who stands to benefit from this?
The organization states that it will closely monitor the development of the matter and have urged the Zambian government to act in the best interest of citizens. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Advise all Zambians that you do not need to physically go to NAPSA offices in order for you to access the partial withdrawal or the services of NAPSA. All you need is to sign up with the e-NAPSA, which was deployed on the 26th of March of 2023. What you need are the following. One, you need a scanned copy of your NRC, both sides. Number two, you need a passport size photo, a soft copy of your passport size photo, which should be less than 6 months old. Then you need an active mobile phone number, which is registered in your name as is on your NRC. You also need to ensure that you have checked that it is registered both on GSM and mobile money restrictions. And finally, an active email address. When you have these things, you go online, you register, then you have access to eNAPSA. On eNAPSA, you can actually fill in the form, apply for your partial withdrawal, and it will be sent to your phone.
There you have it, some of the stories that made headline in our news yesterday. We've seen ZAB there that yesterday spoke to the fact that they've rejected the aspect of GMO mealie coming into the country when we have our own organic grown food being grown in the country. Then also, interestingly, we know the issue of partial NAPSA withdrawal has been a subject of great concern, and it has brought a lot of excitement for those who have resources with NAPSA. Yesterday, we did see some photos on social media flocking where some pensioners have already started going to NAPSA to have their forms filled in so that they can have the partial withdrawal of their resources. But government there yesterday was advising them to say, you know, we've made things easy for you. You don't have to go and make a long queue for you to submit for your partial benefit.
I thought you were going to also cue Madam Prudence. You are still young. You are still young.
Someone might be wondering this story of the director's spokesperson, where is it coming from? So we played that particular clip because yesterday it was speaking to the pensioners, just advising them to say, you know, you can do this in the comfort of your home. Claim your money while you are watching TV with a phone and a cup of tea there. You just click, but follow the prescribed way of doing it, and you will be able to fill in. You don't have to go and make queues and alarm the situation. You can do it in the comfort of your home. I'm hoping Mr. Soko, as a legend here, going into his 50s, will be able to get that partial withdrawal of his resources. But remember, today's topic of discussion is prescribing solutions to the issue of mealie meal, or rather to the mealie meal situation in the country. And of course, to get us going, we are joined in studio by someone who is not new on our stage today, but he has been prominent in offering checks and balances to the now administration. So my colleague, Mr. Soko, of course, is here, and we are going to have a wonderful discussion, even as he introduces our guest this morning.
Yeah, interesting. Our guest is coming from the leadership movement. He's not new, like Prudence did say. Mr. Jairus Ngoma has been talking about these national matters, and they are known for talking about production. Mr. Ngoma, let's talk about the issue of mealie meal. Before I get into that subject, Mr. Ngoma, first of all, we have to welcome you. Welcome to the program.
The pleasure is mine, and my sister looks very gorgeous.
Thank you, Mr. Ngoma.
Not gender sensitive.
I can tell. I can tell. I can tell. Very gorgeous there. You have it. Interesting.
We are very grateful.
We thank you for making it, though on short notice, to be with us on set this morning.
It's 24/7. This is the nature of government you'll be expecting. No lapses. We don't need people to be giving excuses in the firing range. So we are very grateful to be here yet again.
We start our discussion. What do you think is the solution to this topic we have been handling as a country? I think for a while now, pertaining to the issue of milling meal. It has a lot of sides. There's the aspect of shortages. There's the aspect of exports, imports. Now, let's look at the issue of milling meal, Zambia's staple food. What is the solution towards making sure that it's readily available all the time and at a price the majority poor Zambian can afford to buy?
Thank you very much, Brother Soko and the viewers out there. First thing first, whenever we engage with the public through these platforms, we are trying to flash out the mindset of the Zambian people. Our thrust or the emphasis is nothing but production. When we talk of production, we mean local production, not the production where our resources are being looted, taken where they think it's comfortable in their own offshores. Now, when we look at the genesis of all this, first and foremost, we should be asking ourselves, first, for us to develop, there are three facets. Number one, we need to understand the environment we are in. Number two, we need to devise a plan to deal with that environment. Number three, rather, that was number two. Number three, we need to devise a specific tool to deal with that environment. Now, what is this environment called? There is a scarcity of the commodity out there. What is the problem? The problem is, number one, we have policies which are hating ourselves so much. Why are we saying hating ourselves so much? Here is a commercial farmer. You have tagged him. No, this is a commercial farmer. You have given him preferences. And by side, there is this farmer that you hate so much. A peasant farmer. Look at these policies. The fertilizer distribution, very cockeyed. This commercial farmer, they've got their offshores is stuck with monies. And now, when you want to allow your people to get engaged in their local economy, you are giving surnames to your own people to take part in their own economy. You have given them names, they are smugglers. This person here, you don't even want to compare the tonnage. You are busy, you have employed the ZAF, they are hovering the air now, keeping these people with bicycles, getting some minimum. Now ask yourself, if you compare the tonnage, these poor trodden Zambians who worked so hard, that fertilizer was 1,000 plus, they worked. And the traders who are the local billionaires to come, this commercial farmer, how many tonnage do they get? Honorable Mtoro Piri by today was supposed to go and tell the commercial farmers that you people relax if it is true. Because we are told by the National Food Reserve Agency saying that there are 300,000 metric tons, which is enough for the season. Now we are wondering why we are allowing our mothers to be queuing out there. So what we are going to say as leadership movement, number one, we need to imagine now ZNS should come back from those borders. They should go back to production, educated or not. We have a number of our young people, 3.8 million hectares of arable land in Zambia here. Kenya is 5.8 million hectares of land. Now, Zambia being a land linked, we are surrounded by these neighboring countries. That is money. We should be now seizing the opportunity. We should do, in fact, the minimum they are confiscating, they should give them back. Because that is their money. See, these people have worked. So, what is the role of the government? The role of the government is to acknowledge now, even if you are giving aid to the Malawians, you give them 100 metric tons, we are not having problem with you. The issue is, what are you doing? What kind of a policy where the government should be comfortable? Now we are displacing this confiscated milling meal. Who stabilize? How are you going to stabilize without the route of production? So we need to understand by now that Zambians have the privilege to feed this in Shima, not to be told. You heard the chairperson of FRA telling Zambians, that is Mr. Kelvin Hambozia, saying that we should stop depending on Shima. We should start depending on rice. Imagine wangati wazagura rice hiyo anawakamba 25 kg. Meanwhile, we are busy suffocating. We are supposed to be telling Zesco now, Imwe Zesco, bwezankoni malaki sizaleka kwa kumbusa abantu, because as we are not an opposition political party, we are an alternative government. Therefore, we are giving alternative solutions. The Zambians out there are the best opposition people. So now, if you ask President Silumba's leadership movement, we have encouraged this government that you cannot be closing borders. You close borders, meanwhile you are busy giving these foreigners the commodity. So what explanation are you telling us? You are just telling us you are in the consumptive lane. So what we are telling the new dons, you cannot be firing people in the cocaine ministries. You are supposed to be dealing with agriculture now. What is to do with firing the IG when you are supposed to be dealing with the agriculture sector? Honorable Mtolo Piri by now is supposed to be told, Honorable Mtolo Piri, I want solutions. When I was going for prayers, Kuhiros Kuja, kwenye manyimbo ya bili, there was unga fuel. I want to deal with the unga. So, if you ask the Zambians out there, they have answers. This government favors the foreigner. Why are we saying this? They are very comfortable to cage our own people, giving them names as squatters, smugglers. But this white settler, we are not sounding to be racist here. Our mafamu wachizungwa. Babaleka, but he said we have hated ourselves so much. We find somebody as even Nina Kulisa Tungombe, Alimeko, Atia in smuggler. Uyu, Wamuleka, uyu commercial farmer, and then Malamulovomienera is as we are talking now. We needed, educated or not, under ZNS, who are supposed to be taking advantage, not Mambosare and the Namaland Yonse. Mwambo pasa macho kuma Kenyans, 20,000 hectares of land, 99 years. Mupase muntu bati wantu you are telling them they have nothing to do. So the solution is owning what we have and seize the opportunity, allow ZESCO to lower the electricity tariff, because I am wantu vipangano to do with business. So meaning wakambogaya malaitu pa mtengo kwera, wantu wamena kula unga uvutika na wewe udura. So manje wana watu manjira kwenda kumalawa. They should be quick to tell ZESCO to relax, so that poor Zambians should manage to buy this meal, not where you take them as sacrificial lamb in the name of no, we are going to take care of you, meanwhile you are busy secretly giving foreigners. What is wrong with us? So the new dawn, they should do a reverse gear. That route of consumption, we don't need it. Now let us go back.
Let's get the views of the leadership movement. Why are you complaining, considering that there is a good policy that government has put in place that we are going to import GMOs from South Africa? This issue will be normalized, Mr. Ngoma. Is that a problem also?
Where is the problem where we seem to be so incapacitated, so impotent, so numb, backbone broken? Why can't we start doing things of our own? Where is the problem? We have the arable land. Our young people are in these streets. You, the journalists, who are battered every day by these junkies. They are just hardening them. They arrest them, take them in those. That is energy. We are supposed to take that energy to State Farm as we are talking. Not where you are good. Why Timankarao na Ulesi? Where is Zambia as a Christian nation? Akambira to Waulesi Asadi. Now, why are we so comfortable to go and make deals when you have the resource? That's why even our resources are being taken advantage. Our minerals are going in the name of no signing MOUs. You don't even run even one mine of manganese. You are busy signing MOUs. No, we'll be making electric car batteries. Do we even run one mine here as the government? So what we are telling is
the Minister of Commerce, Mr. Ngoma, was arguing that that car battery will actually bring a lot of employment to Zambians.
How many MOUs have we signed as a nation? How many are they? We found the Sujirite recently. What happened to that Sujirite? How about the Kasensere God? The president told this country that by Fed, meaning this month, we are supposed to be running Kasensere God. We are waiting. Who will be running that mine? So we need to be loving ourselves. Let's have policies where we take charge of our resources, and this resource is found on the land. So land being the key, give titles to your people. When these foreigners come now, we don't hate them so much. They should be partnering with your people so that Zambia also should start emulating like the Middle East, who are controlling their oil field. Here we are told we have no capacity. We are being given names here. We are telling Zambians we can run mines using ZNS, pick and shovel. Manje iyo Sujirite. Which tools were they using? Nanga Kasensere God. So the problem is our mindset. We need to reach a point where we are equal partners. Let's start from the scratch, not where you jam the primary industry. You don't want to take part in a secondary. So if you have to ask us, Brother Soko, what we are telling the new dawn is that there is no country which has fallen from heaven with bags and sacks of money. No. We need to start from somewhere. Loko panyumba kungalako ka garden, my sister. So mungangale so chabe. Atiai tizambwenda ku market. We should be seen to take advantage. We have the money making machine. Zicta is making a lot of money. ZRA is making a lot of money. You have these other facilities. You can start from there and tap into the energy of young people, having gotten the real product now. That is Forex. One can be a real chief marketer. You go and market your country. Money should be hitting our Bank of Zambia. Not what we are seeing. There is capital flight every day. We have hated ourselves so much. Miambeko ka business mwe wasoko. Mwakuliza tungombe paka munda kanu. Muli makuno kwino. Awa wasoko waluma. 2,500 bags. Some funsana tinanga the license yanu wasoko. Iliku nani mwali mila milisi. No walima. Mpezeko tumiala wasoko yu awesane. No niligo maina. Munkaleko atino. Diwe sikwata. Akabwela foreigner atino. These are investors. Imwe tizanga bwanji mwendeko you are a potential billionaire. You do your own business. No ni mwasmagola. Why are we hating ourselves? We need policies where
Madam Chota has a question.
Zambians should also take part in their God-given resources, because this is Zambia which every one of us, our forefathers, fought for this independence. Therefore, what gift are we going to offer to our people?
Mr. Gomez actually said a very important point there, where he talked about CJ like Patrick. So he actually says what machinery was being used to dig that. If we know that that truck is carrying about 750 million worth of sigillite in that United States dollar. So he said, I think we have a problem unless maybe an investor comes. This brings me to this point, Mr. Ngoma. Do you think we as a people also, we are reluctant when it comes to growing our own food? I know you talked about the fact where it is important for someone to even have a garden at their home. But as a Zambian people, 12 million plus, if we talk about adults, that's about 10 million. Do you think even us as people, we are reluctant when it comes to growing our own products or food?
Thank you very much. This is a situation where we are talking of the ideology as a people. Remember the Super Ken group with their humanism, their the spirit. Go back to the land. Be self-reliant. And even the kind of education at that time, there was a particular subject when it is, it was something to do with the preventive maintenance, stuff like that. You go out, this one identifies the talents. They were making some holes, others. Now, this tells you and me a story that when we have the kind of, because when parties try to offer themselves to the leadership of a country, they come with different ideologies. So now, this is why we are re-educating the masses out there that you cannot have a society where it has been displaced from the knowledge, because when us politicians are aligning ourselves there, if the society lacks certain values, for example, someone knows that land is very, very important, it's a birthright, and somebody tells them that, no, me, I'll come with a foreigner, I've got a bag of foreigners who come from abroad to come and take charge of. The normal person who thinks that land is very, very important, they will not vote for that person. So if I'm to answer that question, it is where we have lost our background, because we are coming from a background where our forefathers have a self-belief in themselves at that time. They had to come out from the colonial master so that they govern themselves. Here we are today, we have the independence. Now the question is, what gift are we going to hand over to our future generation? Because from the look of things, even in the own forefathers, we are busy selling them to foreigners. We can't mend those roads. Using the energy of the young people, we have limestone here in Lusaka, we have the youths, we have the machinery under ZNS. You can just load the technology, but you are giving it to Micro Ocean so that they do it for 25 years, subjecting your people. And that road is a productive road. Educated or not, rich or poor, people are supposed to do business. Now, how are they going to produce? When you have a company which is very much keen to nuke you and limit you, because 25 years it will be too much for you, PND will not be there. and even in the Ministry of Finance, this year my problems who are supposed to do what we call crowdfunding. My sister 900 quarter. 1,000. Imagine each if we approximate about 20 to 18. How much money are we talking about? That is the real PPP. Everybody, Makombo, market, we own that facility. Now the problem is where we have been defeated. There is nothing we can do. Chinese go there, but it's what that copper is a wasting asset. Manje, a wasting asset. Nizingati zanobali pira ma Chinese aba or our men our nationals in our coffers. You find that imwe mpengeko ka 15 pini bakacho samu ka 35% at kainde ku government you get your 11,000. You don't complain. But you will follow now. How come they don't pay the 35%? So we are talking about loving ourselves. We are not supposed to be troubling us to mbeko kwa peleka kwa America. In fact, paneva enda manja abantu aba bazizi kambira weka is waziti chosako because we are sitting on the resource. How come you are lobbying? No, we have a problem, debt. What are we doing here? What are we doing back home? Apart from lobbying. So we need to take charge now under ZNS. Iyo sujiraiti ndarumba mine mu bedroom yangu yo. We want a number of Luswanizos now to be running. We need billionaires. And those colonial laws which you criminalize people when they do business. No, you are in a legal mine. We want money to be revolving within our country. Having said that, Zambians have the responsibility to understand the value that if a leader comes to them next time, tells them that in a munike for 10 hours, 14 hours, dollar tumbling down, wazifuza koma questions. Is that where a branch dollar, not confidence yo? Because as a Christian nation, Mulungu who is going to bless the labors of our hands, not confidence. Like that, we are going to be serving leaders before we put them. We are not asking a billboard. It's pay time now. That's why our economy is crippled and the IMF conditionality. Why our condition? So we need to start waking up. Period. Let's take charge of God-given resources and start controlling under the DNS. Like that, the mini meal, we are going to use it as a way now to start allowing farmers, in our case, they'll be taking advantage. They conquer the neighboring countries. Under ZNS, we protect the nation and our young people, educated or not. That's why these people, we challenge them. They told the Zambian people that they'll start with 3 state farms, my sister, cultivation of marijuana. Where are we today? There is no weight in their mouth production. Nikanjira kama loni chabe, and they think this is the way we can develop. So, as an alternative government ourselves through.
But do you think they do listen to what you propose, that we can still manage within the resources we have, and we don't need to borrow further?
These people, they are stubborn, Brother Soko. They are stubborn in the.
Why do you say so?
Let me tell you, the road we are talking about, the dual. A great North Road, Ndola, Lusaka Road.
Dual carriageway, yes.
We make it very clear as leadership movement that number one, we have the human capital in our country. We have dormant earth-moving equipments in these ZNS camps. We have the engineering institution of Zambia. We have the National Council of Construction. And the resources, we have the cement, you have the aggregate. What is it that we can fail to do? We're in a global village. We can lobby technology, for example. We have a background where ZNS has been feeding some of these roads. What were we told? We are going to go ahead. Those who are against it. Now let's not forget that may the soul of the leader of the Patriotic Front, President elect Michael Sata. You remember when he was coming into office, this Zamtel was sold to Lapgreen. Okay? And Zambia Railways was also sold to a South African company. But when late Michael Sata assumed office, he had to revoke those transactions. What was the UPND saying? No, it is going to bring the investor confidence down. No, it is not okay. Today we have Zambia Railways. It is there running. Today we have Zamtel. President said, I cannot allow my instruction to be controlled in Libya there. What are we saying? Now is to come and revoke. In fact, we are warning that is a criminal act. You cannot turn a public infrastructure into private, where you allow private people to be caging people with untold misery to do with these targets. We want to use a lot we have, the young people, so that we can do the real PPP. Every one of us, Mr. Soko, we cannot fail to contribute my 500 kwacha and allow touching ourselves what we call the Mineral Reserve Agency. We start creating our resources back home here. We used to have Ngombeidede, where you could do trade. You have Munakambuzi, our Wananshava, you do barter system. I've got gold, that one has got some clothes. That system we can, the problem we are so much colonized, Tikonga printed dollar, and they are laughing to say, these people, they have the real resource, and they are following this paper, and this is why our airport is littered by these people following us. As we are talking right now, we are supposed to be controlling some of these resources so that the president can be the real chief marketer now. He can go and say, okay, Mwana Bwerera, the so-called, a summit of democracy, which we are not agreeing ourselves because by Guantanamo, wango catching abantu babweraku unatia chosani death penalty is a tiboro ibweza because we'll be talking of production so that numbers counts 24/7. We don't want lives to be exposed. You are preventing people who are supposed to be key in the industry to do with production. Now, if you look at the countries which have developed, they have seized the opportunity. If China was thinking like us, where you close the borders, was China going to be where it is today? Now, we need to agree that we have this problem. Even electricity, let's go the nuclear way. Tunayo miala kuja kusolowezi uranium, ma Chinese, they are going the nuclear way. The Indians, the Americans, our machifu nani, there's this lady, I've forgotten her name, but she was here. Did you see them talking anything to sort out our energy crisis? They were just busy giving us loans. So that we are subjected, we remain poor, they continue looting. So now, we were supposed to be even associating with the Eastern Bloc, the BRICS now, together with the Americans. We are an independent country.
Are you a capitalist or a socialist political party? You seem to be tilting towards the East.
We are a party which is first and foremost...
What's the ideology of the leadership movement?
We are a patriotic front ourselves.
Are you the PF?
No. What I mean by patriotic front capitalism is where you produce and sell. Like the Chinese, look at them. They are not like producing for consumption alone, no. Them, they have blended it well, such that you allow much you produce and excess, you export it where it is needed. So when you have an economy where educated or not, labor being what it is, you are going to produce more. Look at Eastern Province. I was talking to members as I was coming. They have even projected soybeans have started harvesting, Mr. Soko. It will be hovering somewhere 4 quarters. There is too much soybeans in Eastern Province, meaning it will be lower than now. Imagine if you go that route, you produce massive in terms of your grain maize. It means your country will be stabilized in terms of the meal, and the excess now you give them FRA trucks. They take it, they start conquering. Then you with your ZNS now, you can even start these milling plants so that in every district you produce. Having done that, that is your resources, it's money, it's forex, and together with the Mineral Reserve Agency, you allow your people, those with talents, land young, protected, nobody can evict you, Mr. Soko, manjelero mufuona, land kutinkale land ni foreigner. Uko mnaona kuchingola. Uko kuno kufole 27 manja kuti no, this is Chongo River. Wama report, we want fairness. So land being what it is, people can forget about all this, but it's our birthright. We need to protect it with title deeds. Not giving foreigners 20,000 hectares of land, meaning your own people, they haven't even seen a title deed, how it looks like.
Mr. Goma, you've spoken on the aspect of production. We know that production does not happen overnight. You've spoken the fact that there is no country that dropped from heaven and today it develops. But if we talk about production, production does also, increasing production does not also occur in one man or one dual state or one state. As a government, how do you intend to provide resources to your people to ensure that production is increased? You've talked about the aspect of consuming labor from community where you bring in the street foods and stuff. But if you bring in those and government does not provide the resources, even consuming those becomes of no use. So as a party, how do you intend to empower the farmers to ensure that they increase production, apart from providing them with land? Because I can have land, plant maize, and I harvest nothing at the end.
Where are you going to get the money?
Thank you very much, my sister. What is very clear is that we are reclaiming the great gift. Remember, we had the Lima Bank during the UNIP days, because these people understood the wheels of an economy. And that Lima Bank had a specific task to make sure that farmers are taken care of. Ourselves, what we are going to do, this land being what it is a resource on itself. And just like a civil servant walks into the bank, claims, no, kanyumba. Now, this farmer is sitting on 20,000 hectares of land, for example. It's not titled, and they've just built a shop at the corner there, and you are giving them the so-called 300, they call it social cash transfer. Now a 300, what can it do? So what you are going to do ourselves and President Sirumbe is that to start with, before we go there, there is a system already in place, which Andy Kambera Mazoka is the one who started. For those people who may not follow it, it is Andy who started with the FISIP program. But the MMD, that to fish it from the UPND.
Madam Nawa could argue that she initiated the FISIP.
No. The issue I'm trying to say now is that when we are an opposition political party, the way they call it, but as we are an alternative, we are talking of issues which the sitting government, if it has a certain lane of production, it can get some of our ideology. That's why we are saying that when you look at the current program, you find that they are using the NRC, Mr. Soko. That NRC in itself, there are no meters there. My sister, sunga one ma meter pali NRC pajati munda wanu ulima hectares so much. So we want now to scrutinize, because nde palu mambala pali NRC, because Ngoma zachoka kuno aenda kuchongwe. But how are they going to know that Ngoma has got a real field where to do production? So with a title deed, it will be a game changer now, because imwe basoko mkaenda kuja kuchinyunyu kuja bakakamba basoko NRC yanu nanga title deed yanu ni zingati farm yanu ine ni 20 by 20 waona basoko wazafuna mabagi yali mwakuti imwe Ngoma ine nika half hectare. Now when you use that, the rightful farmer will get the benefit of the so-called FISIP at the moment. But now with the enhancement now, because it has to be a policy where banks should be attending to our people, because we'll be thinking production, nothing else, so that the moment a lot of people get engaged in production, and ourselves under ZNS, what we are going to do now, we are going to encourage a lot of people to be helped with those documents, because right now when you have somebody who is seated on this vast land where it's not, you ask them, 20,000, but they are sitting on money. So when you value that land, automatically it becomes expensive and viable, and it becomes a tool in this production. So from there now, one can walk into the bank, access money, they get a tractor, till that land. Meanwhile, you, the government, you make sure that you encourage your people to go in the line where you facilitate the marketing, where FRA trucks should be lined there. You produce, put your maize there, take to Congo. Meanwhile, the government and its citizens, the young people, educated or not. Remember, when we talk of ZNS, Mr. Soko, people, manje salary, ndana nao napo muntu aenda chape ku training afikira kufola. Because even in school, manitina mbira Soko, mwenzo fola kwa mwenzo school. Tenzo enda chape tikaba nikafika mpedishani, mpaka mafika na kusogolo kama sambirilo. Chanki kamba pano chaku tati, we will use the system as our children are being prepared to be soldiers. We'll be tapping into their energy, because we'll be providing the rations under the use of the resources from the ZICTA, which whenever you make a call, 30% goes to ZICTA. Probably this is money that we don't even account for now. Mupanga makozi yangati muteva soko. And the country at large. It's a lot of money. Even these health salaries which these directors are getting. How can be one getting 500 and above these directors? We need to limit them to 50p. The rest of the money, take it to production, so that we become productive, you produce. It's a priority. You cannot tell us you don't have money. Nanga jet engine, I never go like. Oh, that is money.
Mr. Goma, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to conclude. But I'm going to ask you this question. You're talking about where you have to empower your farmers. You give them loans, which maybe they might buy tractors and stuff like that. And then when they farm the product, you get and you export and the farmers get resources. But we know that there are issues that do with natural disasters. These are unforeseen. We saw this year in some areas in Southern Province where they experienced heavy rains than they've ever experienced in their history. And a lot of crops have been destroyed. How do you, as a government, is going to ensure that you look on the issue of protecting the money that your farmers are getting? Because you know when someone gets a loan, there's some collateral that comes with it. And when natural disasters strike, sometimes you have no control over that. So as a government, how are you going to ensure that the resources that you're giving these farmers are safeguarded in the area of a natural disaster? They don't get to lose out.
Thank you very much. The role of the government is to safeguard the people. So when we are using the word accessing ourselves, because we know loans, people may misunderstand us. Because as a government, our interest, we gave an example of the Lima Bank, where there was a principle that the government then, that's why we had people benefiting from free education, because they made sure that food security under ZNS, it was plenty, they were providing in these universities. You cannot neglect production, then you go the route of free education. Ni mwana wanda anazange na mklasi na njala moja. Loko wamine your teacher, aza kuila choko na njala, loko dotolo. So what we are saying ourselves, because we've been hasty to have food security, because choambilia senipamala, chakudya, ivi basala vikwela pambuyo, because in the hierarchy of needs, food will be number one, kwa bwela shelter, clothes, mapunzi so what we are going to do ourselves is to make sure that, number one, these farmers, educated or not, labor being what it is, you give them a fair play food where they can take part, and their government is listening to them and allow them to get engaged. When you have a challenge to do with your aspect of calamities, to talk of the aspect to do with the drought, it's not a persecution where now you cease to be Zambian. That's why we've been telling Zambian people that even as you plan, you were laughing the other day, whereas somebody was saying, no, Zambians should also start depending on the millets, sorghums and cassava. Now you ask a question, what policies have you put in place and on the larger scale? What plan do you have as a country? Because you need to look at those areas. So what you are doing, you are equipping your people to say, okay, as the case is, because we are going to be so massive ourselves, that's why we are talking of nuclear power plant, because you cannot have a sustainable production in an absence of sustainable energy. Right now we are importing from Mozambique. And if Mozambique wakes up today and say, oh, tipeleka kwa Angola, what will happen to us? So we cannot boast here and say, no, TICs are not shading. We are supposed to be looking at solutions, energy sector, and we know that uranium does not know drought. We know that the Abidabi solution, which they are claiming, is not sustainable here in Zambia, because we don't have a site where we can produce massive energy using, because in Tawiyamvula we have clouds, Mujuni. So the way to go, and you can turn your country into a desert, because you'll be cutting a lot of trees to put those panels, Vaja desert. So that's why we are saying solutions are here. Once we work that route, my sister, and Zambia, as we are talking, you are going to agree that in Southern Province, I'm not trying to be tribal here, I'm just stating facts in the background. Most of the farmers from Southern Province, they're in Eastern Province. Why? They have looked at certain climatic conditions, and those people are hard workers. So all you need is to understand that even if you have befallen with a calamity, God is so gracious. We cannot claim here that you are the bad season, because other places, it's not that the farm input program was not well done. So all you need to do is, as human beings, we do what we are supposed to do. Imagine if this government had prioritized, it did not cut the chain of distribution of fertilizer so that they give whoever they wanted, not looking at the real farmer. Real farmer is every month muchaka. So we are supposed to allow the chain of distribution. Then you are a government, government. Can you prove? Meanwhile, these farmers now, they are going to be full throttle with the involvement of the ZNS, our young people, educated or not, labor. We are not going to be worried of crossing these borders, because now we know that from the primary industry will have kick-started, and with the Mineral Reserve Agency, which does not know drought, you supplement now. Miala sisi ziva chilala, Mr. Soko. Apa so miala zotikamba hapa, zichoka mchano chatu zienda, but question ni ingati ndarama zane zingena mubanki, because we are supposed to be serious before the trucks leaves our borders. Money should reflect in our bank, and that is the resource we should do a backup to production. And like that, you can be able to push on, because you know that the minerals do not know the drought.
Thank
Even
you.
if you were the drought, you'll be producing, and that is forex, which will be invested on your land, so that you can even do what we call the winter maize. You drill.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ngoma. We thank you for your time.
We want Zambians out there to know that we should have the self-belief, and we should love ourselves. Our leaders,
there you have it, Mr. Ngoma. I think we have to cut you. We have given you 2 minutes, and the 2 minutes is over.
It's not a problem. This is a problem.
Yeah, we have to cut you, Mr. Ngoma. You exceeded your 2 minutes. You had to go overboard and say things all over again that you had already mentioned to us. But we had to allow you all the same. But however, in conversation, we have been discussing with the Leadership Movement Secretary General, Mr. Jairus Ngoma. We were talking about prescribing solutions to the issue of mini-meal prudence.
Of course, and it has been a wonderful discussion. Thank you so much to everyone who was watching Camnet TV. I know on our Facebook platform we've had a number of viewers actually watching and following this program. Those who called, we appreciate your viewership. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel. When there is a news item that you want Camnet TV to cover, give us a call through the number that are on the screen. If you are unable to get to us, just leave us a message on the Facebook page with your number, and we'll be able to get back to you in the shortest possible time. So whenever things are happening, just give us a call and we'll be at the doorstep. It is you, our viewer, that make Camnet TV what it is now, and we appreciate that. So from me, Prudence Tota, my host Patrick Soko, and of course our guest for today, Mr. Jairus Ngoma, it is bye for now, and God bless you.